Hello, good afternoon. This is Malia Holleran, and I'm here with my friends Linda West and Mindy Davis, and we are here for Inspiration Station TV.
Whoop,
Hello,
whoop.
ladies. How are you?
I'm doing great. I think we can't hear Mindy,
We
but
can't. We're having some technical difficulties, so we'll get those worked out along the way. These things are live, and sometimes these things happen. So while we wait for Mindy to fix her situation, let's just chat a bit.
okay. And you know what, Malia, I wanted to share a quote that I just read, and I just posted it on the Inspiration Station TV. But I wanted to share it because I like the quote for what it is, and then I have just, if you don't mind, just a little story about this quote that kind of hit with me.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay, so it's from Jimmy Dean. I don't know if that's Jimmy Dean sausages or not, but it says Jimmy Dean. He says, I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. And it's so true. I think in life sometimes, I know I used to be this way, where I always felt like I had to do every single thing I said I was going to do, no matter what it was, even if something came at me and really the best course was to change, I always felt like I still needed to accomplish everything I set out to do, which sometimes is debilitating because it's not always the right thing, you know. And so speaking of those changing the sails, my daughter and I went sailing one day. Now I'm not a sailor, and we got this group on, you know, buy one get one free, and we thought it would be fun to go sailing. Well, the guy wrote down on paper what we were supposed to do, how we were supposed to change the sails and everything, and he said, okay, get in the sailboat and go sail. And I'm like, what? This is impossible, you know, like, are we ever going to make it back? Well, it's funny because, you know, we paid attention to the notes he wrote. Both of us paid, you know, really close attention to it. And we got out there. We were out there by SeaWorld, and I was like, oh my God, we have a half hour to get back. We got to try to make our way back there. But we did it. You know, we adjusted ourselves and we made it back to our destination, and we made it back exactly on time, so I didn't have to pay any extra money. Silly story, but I just wanted to share it with you.
That's an awesome story, Linda. Awesome, awesome. How has your month been? It's been quite a while since we met. These months are really structured weird this time.
Yeah, you know, this month has been really, for me, has been fantastic because I've been instituting different procedures to make my business work. You know, I worked in the corporate world as a legal secretary for 20 years. So when I quit my job, which was about 3 months ago, I didn't really realize how much reliance I had on my bosses to tell me everything to do. You know, as a secretary, they had everything lined out and everything. When I started my business, there was nobody to have anything lined out for me. So I'm having to figure things out on my own. What's going to work for me? What's going to make it so that I can be successful? I'm still going through a lot of changes and still working on myself, you know, to become a better person and trying to figure out the business aspect. And masterminding has been the key to, you know, helping me figure these things out much quicker than I would had I not had a masterminding group. And, you know, you being in my masterminding group, I'm really blessed to have you, and I want to thank you so much. You're just so full of knowledge that I don't know how you know all that stuff, but I'm just glad that I can, you know, tap into it a little bit here and there. So how
Yeah,
was your month?
my month has been incredible too, and I totally agree with you with the mastermind, just in general. And I think that for us, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to create this Inspiration Station TV is just to reach out to people who don't have contact with others in their lives and business, because a lot of us work from home or, maybe we do go to work full time, but then you come home and you're on your computer trying to make it happen and do different things. And so it's always really nice to have with and to bounce ideas off of, or even, you may have a super hard day at work and just coming home and seeing an inspirational quote or something like that, just something that small has the potential to change the trajectory of your day and put you back on the path to pursuing your dreams and to really living in your purpose and doing what you're meant to be doing. So I totally love that whole mastermind aspect, and I know that for us, because it's been so crucial and important in building our businesses, and not only our businesses but really ourselves, because a lot of times we're dealing with personal issues that are creating blocks for us that show up in our business. So yeah, it truly does help. Let's take a second.
It's been great too, getting to know you on a personal level.
I'm sorry, I'm talking to Mindy.
You're shaking your head no. I was like, okay, I guess it's not that great getting to know you on a personal level. I think it is. The one thing I've been doing too that I never did before, working in a corporate job, is just meeting with people one-on-one, and it's really great because I'm a very empathetic person, and that's why for me I think I got into the helping charities business, and it's just great when I get to meet with different charities or different businesses who love to help charities and give back to charities, because it just really, for me, it really tugs at my heart, and it makes me see that what I'm doing is the right thing, that I've made the right decision to leave my full-time corporate job, and go on my own and make my own dreams happen. And like for me, this is like, I know this is where I need to be, and I'm finally here after all these years, but I'm doing it. I could have been scared and just been scared and not jumped into it, but I didn't let any of the fear get in my way, and I'm still there today. It's been almost 3 months, and I'm still there where I'm not letting fear drive me. I'm letting the thrill of success and of doing what I'm here to do drive me forward. It's awesome.
Yeah, certainly, and I know exactly how you feel, because a lot of times we have fears that we don't recognize as fear, and so you just get paralyzed, you get stuck, and you don't know why. And for me, that was a huge deal. Really quick, Mindy, check your Facebook. I just sent you another link. So close out of this window and then go through that link and see if that helps, okay? So for me, I've had my business for 5 years, and I really wanted to move my business online because I was doing a lot of networking and spending a lot of time spinning my wheels and not really in front of the right people. But
can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yay!
Yay! So yeah, it just wasn't working for me, and I had a secret desire to do business online, but I was afraid of what people would think when I told them I make money online, because I think I had my own ideas, like people who make money online are shady, or they're all scammers or schemers, and I didn't want people to think that of me. So I just let fear, and I have the knowledge, I had the technical skills, all of these things. That wasn't an excuse at all. But for 2 years, I did nothing. I just watched people. I watched people from the beginning of their businesses to making money, and I was still watching, being a lurker, not doing anything, just watching people have success while I let fear keep me on the sidelines. So I really admire that about you, Linda, is that, maybe it probably did take you a little bit longer to make the jump than what you wanted to. But when you set that date in stone and announced it to the world, that made it so real that there was no feeling the fear anymore, because you already declared what you were going to do, and you told everyone. We built anticipation around it, like,
Yeah.
You were
everyone
like
was
a
excited for you.
rocket just taking off.
So you couldn't do it. I mean, you were just kind of stuck. You got to do it. And so you've taken that attitude into everything that you do. So it's carried on now into your business of not allowing fear to stop you. Or if you're afraid, because we all have times when we get stuck, asking for help. What do I do? Help me get through this. Like, I'm stuck here. Give me, like, I need a push. I need a push. So those,
Yeah.
like, periods where we get stuck, they're a little bit fear. There's some fear in there, but you got to feel the fear and do it anyway, and you've been excellent at that.
Oh,
I know
thank you.
the fear for me at times has been absolutely crippling at times. And seeing you, Linda, just take off like that, it gave me, like, I was living vicariously through you. And it inspired me, and to look back at me and not rely so much on other people's vision for me, but more of have me determine my own vision.
Yeah. So really quick, let's pause, because we had a few technical difficulties, so we kind of just went into everything.
Yeah.
Why don't we take some time and introduce ourselves so that our lovely friends and guests know who we are and what we're all about. So, and then also just some housekeeping. For those of you guys who've never participated in a webinar in this platform, on the right side of your screen you have a chat feature. So if chat's not open, there's a little blue box on the left side, and you can click there and open the chat. So you guys, the guests and attendees, can chat with each other and with us, but also understand that there's a slight delay. So there's going to be like a 45 to 60-second delay. So a lot of times if you say something in chat, we're already talking about something else in real time, and we won't necessarily understand. So if you have a direct question for one of the panelists, I have enabled the Q&A. So you can just go ahead and click the Q&A and ask a specific question. That'll help us to make sure that we take care of your needs and we answer any questions that are pressing. So let's...
And Malia, just so you know, my Q&A is disabled, so I don't know if other people's may be as well.
Okay, let me see. I have it... Okay, so I have it checked where it says enable Q&A, so it should be open.
Okay.
Maybe, let me see, Debbie Garcia, do you mind checking for me to see if the Q&A is enabled and post it in the chat, please? Okay, so let's introduce ourselves. Let me see. Okay.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start while you're figuring some of that out.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Linda.
Okay, my name is Linda West, and I was a legal secretary for 20 years, and 3 months ago I decided to look at my life more closely and see what was I missing in my life. And what I figured out is that I love helping people. That's my mission in life, is just to help people. And then I had to figure out, who did I want to help? And I realized that I've done 12 years of fundraising for different organizations, and I've never taken a penny. I've done it all as a volunteer. and loved it so much. And so I realized that the people I wanted to help is nonprofits. So I started my company called Alms Productions, and I'm still going through some gyrations trying to figure some of it out, but I think I'm finally getting there after 3 months of thinking, pondering, changing, fixing things, and all this stuff. I think I have it figured out. And my main mission right now is that I'm working on is putting together a nonprofit expo in San Diego. And how I'm getting there is by putting on a nonprofit speaker series the second and fourth Thursday of every month. And that's to build my audience and let people see, what we're doing. I've also gone through some changes. I started off, at $1, then I went to $5, then I went to $20, and after a lot of soul searching and figuring myself out, I've decided that the nonprofit speaker series now is going to be a free event. I want people to attend. My whole goal is to get people to come to a location where they can be educated on growing their business or their nonprofit and becoming sustainable. So I want to get people to the event. So it's free, you all. You can't beat free. But I just hope you'll join us, and that's, like I said, I'm going through a lot of gyrations right now, and a month from now, who knows what I'll be telling you guys. We'll see. So that's me in a nutshell.
That's part of the growing pains of doing business.
Exactly.
Mindy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mindy Davis. I'm the maternal manager. One thing that I discovered, I am much more than a mom coach. My passion is more about entertaining people. And I love speaking in front of people. I love giving moms the hope that you'll get through this, that the world will not come to an end, and help them discover themselves through that process and find out what their passions are and their strong points are, and just take the limitations, minimize them, and there's much more to you than just being a mom. So I'm seeking out more speaking engagement instead of trying to seek more moms to coach. I'm passionate about helping them, and I have a webinar series to help them with, but I'm more in wanting to give them a good smile and bring laughter into their lives.
Very, very cool.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Uh-oh. Okay, so it looks
like... So how did you arrive at that? How did you know that this is where you wanted to be?
It was funny. A lot of it was finding my voice and really thinking that other people knew a whole lot more than I did. And only you can know you, and finding that passion. For me, an aha moment came in, it was like the first week of December. I had joined Toastmasters last June. And so I was very comfortable in speaking in front of people. And the first level of achievement, which is after 10 speeches in Toastmasters, is the competent communicator designation. And most people, it takes them 10 months to a year to work on that if you're doing it steady at a leisurely pace. I did it in 188 days from when I joined Toastmasters. And they gave me a standing ovation when I finished my last speech. And it was just, there was this instant light bulb, aha, this is you, and this is who you are. You want to help them on an immediate platform in reaching out to them and giving them hope and laughter. And it was then that it was like, no, I'm not a mom coach one-on-one, group things like that. It's more put together a curriculum, have that be there, but really focus on connecting with them on a personal level.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Awesome realization, Mindy. And this is all new, like, which is awesome. It's so cool because you guys are like so new in discovering, you know, your purpose and who you're meant to serve, and so it's really, really cool. The dynamic. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Malia Holleran, and I work with entrepreneurs and small business owners to do so much to really define their businesses, and my specialization is marketing, so generating ideas and developing their businesses to something that they absolutely love. You know, we look at the entire business, the entire person, and make sure that the business fits with the person. And love helping people create attraction marketing systems. So basically, where your target market, your message really hits your target market. So they're coming to you instead of you chasing after the wrong people. We craft a message, we develop your business in such a way that your target market and your ideal audience is attracted to you, and they're coming to you asking to do business with you. So that's what I love. That's what I do for my own business. I've had an amazing amount of success building my business based on relationships, targeting the right people, and having my audience come to me. And now I teach people to do the same. So
I have to say something here. The three of you, you are like the Jedis of just business and inspiration, and as people. You each have inspired me in so many ways, both in a business way, but then on a personal way. You said something to me, Malia. We talked at the last Connections meeting afterwards, and you said, why do you have to be anybody? Why do you have to be the maternal manager? Why can't you just be you? And I was like, oh, yeah. You know, so each time I come into contact with you and Linda, I am just so proud of you for how far you've come and just like skydiving into it. And Lori, I just appreciate the inspiration that you all just push out to the world in your own sparkly way.
We do.
Well, thanks, Mindy. You know, it's interesting because the reason the Inspiration Station started was I think all three of us had an idea to do this, but none of us had voiced it. And then one day I said, you know what, you guys, you inspire people. I see that people seem to be inspired by what I'm doing. Why don't we form something where we're all inspiring people together? And that's how this, I think, was kind of. And when I mentioned it, they were like, "Oh, we were thinking the same thing." So it was kind of funny that we all had the same idea. Like, you know, they say you throw it out there and it comes back, and I think that's how we all came together to do this. It's kind of interesting. But I wanted to ask a question, Malia, and that is, you said the first 2 years, you've been in your business for 5 years. The first 2 years, you were kind of, you know, like, I want to do this online. I wasn't sure, should I do it online because, you know, that shadiness and all this. So how did you get from there to where you are today? You know, like, now you're out there, you're meeting with people, you're not only online, you're meeting people in person. How did you get yourself to there?
Well, okay, so I started with networking, and that's phenomenal. So I recommend, like, if anyone has a business where it's person to person, go to meetup groups and meet people. not to sell people anything, just to meet people, because a big part of your business is going to be expanding your network and just meeting people. So I had a life change. My husband wasn't working when I was networking. So for the first 2 years of my business, my husband did absolutely everything for me. He cooked for me, he cleaned, he took the kids to school, he did all the PTA, so he's like the treasurer of the PTA, on the district advisory committee. You know, he took the kids to gymnastics, everything. So I could go to breakfast meetings at 7 in the morning. I could go to lunch. I mean, there were days, and this is how Lori and I met, networking. There were days when we would go to 3 meetings in a day. Like, you're stuffed full because you have to buy food everywhere you go, you know? So, and that was like, you know, sometimes every day we would see each other. Lori, me, and Sandy Marvich, who you guys will meet as well. But, you know, that's how I built my business. And it was great because I was building relationships, but it was hard. It was tough. Because you do this business because you want to spend time with your family and you want flexibility. And unfortunately, the way that I was building my business, I wasn't building it in a way that was pursuing my goals, what I really wanted. What I really wanted was this concept of a laptop lifestyle where I could go to the beach, be on my laptop, and make money, or go to the park. You know, be at the park where the kids are playing. I could be on my laptop making money. Or I wake up and there's email saying, you made money. That was my ideal. But I let my beliefs get in the way of that because I had, because of the way some people did business, you know, you get on a lot of email lists and you see people selling stuff that's not really ethical or doing things that aren't ethical. My belief over, you know, it just didn't allow me to move forward. And so how I got to this place was I actually started acting. So I got my book. You know, if you guys have ever been around me, you know that I have these, I talk about them all the time, these books everywhere I go, right? Mindy got hers, I know.
Yeah.
I
have mine.
For a tip on that, during back to school season, go buy 20, 25, they're only 50 cents each, they're really cheap. Then you have them for everything. So I got my book and I just wrote down who I wanted to be. So I had beliefs about who I didn't want to be. So I flipped the switch and I said, who do I want to be? I want to be a person who inspires people. I want to be a person who encourages people. I want to be a person who makes a full-time income working from home in an ethical way. I want to be a mom who can go every single week and volunteer in each of my kids' classrooms. So I wrote down a list of who I want to be. I want to be one of those wives that has a clean house. I'm not there yet. I'm not quite there, but I want my husband to come home and dinner be ready. Right? So there are still things that I'm working on. I might have to hire a maid for the clean house thing because it's not my forte, but that's okay because I can be the person with the clean house who doesn't necessarily clean the house, right?
Yeah.
So my dreams and wants don't have to be defined by my limited way of thinking. I can expand that. But anyways, I wrote down who I want to be, what type of marketer I want to be. You know, I do want to be someone who sends an email and people buy something, but I want them to buy it because it's truly going to help them, right? And then I went to work on that. So I want to be someone who inspires, okay? I did the 4:30 challenge. Well, I could wake up at 4:30, but I'm going to do more than that. I'm going to wake up at 4:30 and I'm going to encourage someone else. So that's why I started posting, because that fits in with who I want to be as a person. So that's how I got here, is I defined who I wanted to be, and then even just saying it, stating it out loud, I didn't have to make to-dos or anything like that. Putting it into the universe helped my brain, my beliefs, my mindset to get to work on it.
You know, it's interesting that because your approach was a little different than mine, and yours was, who do I want to be? Whereas my approach was more, I wrote a list of everything I enjoy doing. You know, I had a life coach, Liz Stone. She was fantastic. I just love Liz. In 5 months, she took me from doubting myself, not believing that I had any value to offer. You know, my husband is great. He's always been, you know, behind me and positive, you know, for me and everything, but he's too close to me, and I think I just didn't really believe that he truly meant it, you know, even though I'm sure he did, but I didn't believe it enough. And so when I sat with Liz, I went with these 5 months, and she had me make a list, and the list was, what are all the things you enjoy doing? And then figure it out. So I took a look at that list, and I said, these are the things I love, love, love doing. How can I turn all of that into a job or a business where I can actually make money enjoying every single day of my life, you know? And that's how I got to what I'm doing today. And it was through that 5-month process. And I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is my life purpose. And I figured it out. So I'm still trying to figure out the money part, but at least I'm doing the things I absolutely enjoy doing. I'm really, literally, I hear this thing all the time, but literally on a daily basis. I wake up in the morning, I'm doing what I love, and by the time I go to bed, I'm still doing what I love. It's so incredible. Life is to be lived, you know, and I just share just a quick story. My brother-in-law is not doing too well. He was in the hospital for the last 12 days, and he was this close to losing his life from something. And it really makes me look closer. Like, I do appreciate my life every day, but when I see somebody who gets so close to dying, it really makes me look at it even closer and to see how important it is for us to live our life on a daily basis happy. I had my fair share of not being happy, being miserable, and, you know, I can really blame nobody but myself because I chose to stay in those situations, whatever they were. And now I'm choosing to live the life of happiness, you know?
I think,
I don't know if that's do it, but please.
No, really quick before you start, Mindy, that's one thing that changed my perspective. Happiness is a choice. Every day you've got to choose to live a life of happiness, no matter what. No one can control your own happiness except you. That is 100% within your control.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mindy.
You know, I was really, that statement of you being in charge of your own happiness and that it's a choice. So many of us get caught up in, well, when I do this, I'll be happy. Everything will be so much happier when this happens or that happens. And meanwhile, life is going by each and every day. And I look at it like I was put on this earth to learn things and meet people, and through whatever contact I have with them, put my little Mindy muchness to them and hope that it carries them along on their journey, whatever that journey may be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So before we end, we have a few more minutes. We wanted to share with you guys some of at least one challenge that we've had and how we triumphed over it. So before we start, I want to ask you guys, the audience, if you are having a challenge in your life or your business right now that you would like for us to give you feedback on, go ahead and open the Q&A and just ask the question, and we will talk about your challenge. And we don't have to name you specifically, so don't feel like, the spotlight is going to be on you. But if you're having a challenge that you just kind of need help getting unstuck, or you need to be inspired, then please open up the Q&A and ask. That's what we're here for. So, Linda, let's start with you.
Okay, and I do want to say that my Q&A is still not, it's still disabled, so they can also put it in the chat, right?
I think it's enabled. Debbie said that it's working. Can
Okay.
can someone just ask a question so that I can verify that it's working?
Okay, so a challenge that I have been going through is still trying to figure out how am I going to make money? That's, the bottom line. People, I'm in business because two reasons. One is I have a desire to help others, but I need to make money in that so that I'm successful, because if I'm successful at my business, then I'm helping others. And to be able to impact the lives of other people is such an incredible feeling, and that's what I want to do with my life. So I'm still in the process of trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to make that money, and we're whittling it down, figuring some of it out. But truly, the masterminding has been something that's been really critical for me to see things differently, because I get stuck in my own little world. Like you said, a lot of us work from home. We work from home, and then we have these thoughts going on in our head, and they just spin around and around and around, and sometimes you need to spit them out loud to somebody who understands what you're going through and sees a different perspective. And that's what the masterminding is helping me with. So I'm still working on that, but I'm figuring it out, and I can actually see an end in sight, that there is going to be something at the end that's going to be successful for me, so that I can continue to do this.
Awesome. Very cool. I'm glad that you have found a solution, because it's real easy to get spinning and spinning and spinning, and then spinning out of control, and then nothing. So I'm glad that you found something that works for you.
And I highly recommend, if anybody's out there and thinking that, well, I need to find a mastermind group, No, you don't. You can start a mastermind group. You don't have to go out and find groups. You can start one, because if you think about it, when I started one that I started, I picked the people that I wanted to be in my mastermind group, because I knew that they would help me succeed in my business, and they would be beneficial to me, as well as I could be beneficial to them. So by starting your own group, you're selecting the people that you need to help you be successful. So instead of going and saying, I need to go find one, start one. Just start one today. I urge you to start one.
I'm going to take that challenge, because I am going to start one.
Can I be in the group? Find you.
Maybe. I'm just kidding. Mine's going to be a part of my business model, though, so it will be a paid mastermind group.
Okay, cool.
But anyways, I think that is incredible. Mindy, have you had a challenge in life or business that you've tried, or where you need feedback?
Well, I'm similar to Linda. I'm more on the ground floor. It took me, I spent a lot of money trying to do different things. And it really comes down to, you need to know your why first and find out your passion. I'm thinking that the money will come. Now that I've narrowed down specifically what it is I want to do, it's just getting out there. One of the things that I'm trying to do more of are podcasting, and also wanting to host a hangout more of just moms, have a topic and let them, do a round table. What's working for you? What is it? To help inspire that hope for them.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So both of you guys brought up money, right?
Right.
Linda, I realized that when Mindy started talking, we didn't talk about yours. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But one thing I wanted to say, and Mindy, feel free to give Linda feedback. Well, I don't know. But for both of you guys, well, one thing that you said, Linda, that I noticed is that you're in business because you have a desire to help others, right? So I want you to try this on, and I might shift that. So business exists to solve a problem. Okay? So you're in business because there is a problem. There are people out there who need the solution to the problem. So you're in business to provide that solution. That solution is worth money. Okay, so when you look at monetizing your business, business exists to solve a problem, right? Everything, you needed something to drink your coffee out of, so a cup was created, right? We had a problem and the cup solved it. So your audience has a problem and you have the solution. So now we need to then offer that solution for money, in exchange for money.
Is that simple, huh?
Yes. And same thing to Mindy.
I know one of the things that
Excuse me.
I felt guilty at times, and one thing that I was really poor at is not separating a business friendship relationship, and that's so important that you need to separate that and own the value that you have, that you're providing, and that is worth money. And having that confidence that, and the initial people that you'll first come through are most likely going to be friends and relatives and stuff like that. And if you've given everything away for free before, it's going to be difficult to tell them no. It's a price, but that price is honoring both you for providing it and them for expecting the quality out of it.
Certainly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, and a lot, you do start with your friends and family, but they're traditionally not your target market. They don't have the problem that you are trying to solve. So, they may or may not do business with you. That's not something to get discouraged about. But when you're in front of your audience and they have a problem and you have the solution, there's not really there shouldn't be a problem with charging them money. I've grown a lot in this area, a lot. I would be the deer in headlights when they're like, how much does it cost? I don't know. How much do you want to pay? How much is it worth? I am like guilty as all get out, right? With this, like, I don't know, what's your budget? Not exactly. I don't do that anymore. I've learned because really, people are willing to pay for the knowledge that you have, and not only that, most people feel guilty if you give them something for free. It's the law of reciprocity. Yes, I can give you all the business advice and knowledge for free, whatever, you go make money. That person is going to naturally feel guilty. It's built into us. And it's going to create a gap in your relationship. they're not going to want to keep coming to you because they feel like they're using you. And it may not be a conscious thought, but it's there. And so it can actually be damaging to your relationships when there isn't an equal exchange, whether that be monetarily or intellectually or whatever. And that's, one thing we talk about with the mastermind a lot. You can't just come and get advice, right? Because nobody's paying anybody to be there. So in our mastermind, because there's not a financial obligation there, everybody has to contribute equally because there has to be reciprocation there, right? I give, you receive, and vice versa. And so that happens in business too. So even if you're doing business with friends or whatever, there has to be an exchange, an equal exchange for services.
Yeah. And do you see there's a couple of questions up there?
Yeah.
Did you want to address those?
Yeah. So making sure that there is balance in real life while trying to get website and online presence, all of that together. Wait. Balance with life spending on... Okay, so basically work-life balance. So that's the challenge, work-life balance. How do you balance having a life, and doing... we do this so that we can spend more time with our friends and family and loved ones, but then I know for me personally, with doing business online, my kids come home at 6 and I'm still on the computer until bedtime, and then my husband puts my kids to bed, and then I haven't spent any time with my kids. And that happens, so how do you do that work-life balance? Mindy, do you have suggestions?
It was one of my big issues in starting out on trying to do a business. I have a special needs son and a daughter that's a teenager now, and I was the PTA mom and all of that. Everything went around the kids. And it took me, and I worked with life coach Rebecca Garcia, who did a great job in this, in helping me determine what are my priorities. Well, I don't want to do anything to take me away from my family. So it helped going through and asking my priorities and then valuing that my priorities also were important, that I got the idea of connecting out to others that were in my situation and how lonely it can feel working from home or just being a stay-at-home mom. There are times you just want somebody to call you by a different name other than mom. I would have paid people my first job with the kids was, my husband was at sea, the kids were like on each hip, and I ended up landing a freelance writing job for a newspaper. And when she said she would pay me, I was astonished. I was willing to do the work for free just to talk to grown-ups. And that helped, seeing, working out everything around where I was able to do things with them. For me, I wrote articles or interviewed people while the kids were either at school. I put my daughter in daycare for 2 hours a week just to interview people, and then I would write the articles after they were in bed. It was exhausting, but I felt like I had something that I had ownership in. I had something that was contributing to my family. for that. And it's a hard process. It really is. And different families are going to have different solutions.
Yeah. Linda,
Yeah.
do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I've ever really figured out the work-life balance because I have worked most of my life, since 16, two jobs in school while I had the kids, single mom, So I've gone through all that. I've spent most of my time trying to make enough money so that, the kids and I could live and eat. So how do you do that balance? I don't know. But now that I'm much older, my kids are out of the house, I don't have the kid issue anymore, but I still have, my husband, and he's like, when can we spend some time together? When can we spend some time together? What I'm figuring out is that with my business, there's a whole bunch of things that I need to do. Do I really need to do all those things? Or are those self-imposed deadlines, self-imposed things that I say I need to do? Well, so then I kind of look at my list and I say, you know what? I don't really need to do this today. And it's okay. I'm going to instead watch a movie with my husband, or I'm going to go to dinner with him. I'm going to make a conscious effort to make sure that whatever it is that I say that I need to do, if I need to do it, then I will. But then I need to decide, do I really have to do that particular thing? I used to get stressed out if I didn't get my to-do list done, but now I'm learning that it's okay. That thing can go to tomorrow. I mean, I saw, Malia this week, and she saw my to-do list. There was 0 things on it because I felt like I needed to come into this week with a blank slate without having that stress of having all those things to do. So we just need to figure out what's going to work for us. Do you really need to do every single thing that you're stressed out about? If you're stressed out about it, what good is that doing for you and your life, and what good is that doing for your family? So it's just figuring that out.
Okay, I have a question for both of you, and that is, do you work set hours? And are you able to separate the time between family and job? I've known some people, they don't do anything on the weekends. They work, whatever times they set, those are work times, and nothing goes on past that.
Yeah, neither of us work set hours. I know we don't, because sometimes we're working at. I'm waking up at 3 in the morning talking to Linda, and she's still working at 3 in the morning.
Right to bed.
We don't work set hours, but what you okay, so one thing that helped me with the work-life balance is I set, well, first of all, you got to set boundaries, okay? Like Linda this morning asked me, like, I need this thing on my website, okay? Do you need it right now? She said no. Okay. Well, then that gives me, now I can put it in my schedule to when I have time available, and I can say, I can do it at this time, right? So I want to be there for people who need me, but I got to make sure that there are proper boundaries and that they understand, yes, I'm going to help you. Yes, I'm going to work with you. Is it okay if we do it at this time, which is more conducive for my schedule? So setting boundaries, I think, is important. Second, with business online, because there are a lot of things to do to develop your online presence, I get it, a lot. So I don't say I'm going to work on my business from 9 to 12, because I probably won't. I'll like flitter around on Facebook or do something ridiculous that doesn't mean anything. So I say I'm going to work on my business for 2 hours today. I get on my phone, I set my timer, and I'm solely focused on one activity, that activity for 2 hours. That's my commitment. Is, in my schedule that I do, I say, I'll do Linda's thing, and I'll dedicate 60 minutes to that. If I can't get it done in 60 minutes, it's okay. I release it, and I put it back on my calendar for the next 60-minute slot that I have, or 30-minute, however much time, 30-minute slot that I have. And then I communicate with my client. I'm going to work on this time for, And so I give myself time slots, and when the time's up, the time's up. And I move on to the next thing. So that's how I try to keep balance. And I'll have, in my schedule, I'll have like 2 hours a day to build my business. I'll have 2 hours a day to work on client projects. And I'll have 2 hours a day to do something else. So I work 6 hours a day primarily, and that is, I wake up at 4 in the morning. So from 4 to 7, I've already spent 3 hours. The girls leave at 7 in the morning. So by 7, I've pretty much already done half of my workday. So then my schedule is a little bit freed up. That's why I have more time in the afternoon, because by 10, 11 a.m., I've already done my 6 hours for the day. And then I feel a sense of freedom. Like, I can work if I want, or I can go have lunch if I want. I can, because I've already got my work done. So
thank you.
That's how I do
That's
my
good advice.
Yeah. There's another question about the statement that I made. There's a problem, there's a solution, but what is the best way to find clients and find the audience? This person sells skincare, feels that everyone needs it, but wants to know the best way to get your name out there. So, Mindy, do you have advice about that?
I think of really narrowing it down to your target market and going to where they're at. It's going to be, I don't think anybody is into the hard sell, oh, I do this, come, let me help you. I think more of it, you have to develop the relationship first, understand what they're doing. Like with skincare, ask them, what are you using? What are you using now? And then say, you don't say like, oh, mine's better, let me show you this. Just bring it up casually and do it over a couple different times. And then by then they're more likely to at least allow a presentation for you. And where I go to find, like for me, meeting moms, my target market is still women with kids under the age of 10. Where do I go? Parks, schools, even like through church or any other organization. And what surprised me with my target market, even when I brought it to Connections, it wasn't the moms, it was the grandmoms that were like, oh, I know somebody who needs this. And to initially approach something in a way where, it might not be for them, but do you know anybody? Yeah, I think that's fine to ask for referrals.
Mm-hmm. Linda, do you see the question?
I saw it. Yeah, I had computer problems, but I love technology.
I know.
I did see the question. It was something about skincare.
Yeah, so there's a problem, you have a solution. What is the best way to find clients and find the audience? She sells skincare, everyone needs it, but what is the best way to get your name out there?
Meetup.com too.
Oh yeah, meetup.com. Yeah. I find this question a little difficult for me because I'm not a salesperson, and it's hard to sell to me because I'm not really open. I'm old enough now that I know what I need, I know what I want. So I'm thinking that your target might be younger people who haven't gotten stuck in their ways like I am. I'm not sure. But
see, Linda, here I'm going to stop you because, quite honestly, I feel like you're very easy to sell to. You always.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Oh, yes, you are. Because here's the deal.
Okay.
You have a problem, and you're looking for solutions.
Yes.
Right? So, and here's some insight. All you guys know Linda and I mastermind together. So I'm working with Linda. We talk about our business all the time, right? So what my problem was that I don't have any offers out there. Okay? So I have a business, but I don't have anything to sell. So last week's mastermind, I said, what are your challenges? So everyone went around and told me their challenges. This week's mastermind, I said, hey, I got this product based on all your challenges. Guess who the first person to buy it was?
Linda.
Because you had a problem and I provided the solution. So that's the key. The problem here is that everyone's not your target market. And skincare people are notorious for this. My target market is everyone who has skin. No, it's not. No. Right? I'm not your target market because I have skin and I use soap and water. And I'm not going to use anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, right? So you're right. And so, okay, good point, Malia. I am an easy sell if you have something that I want.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, so I'm selling to me is easy if it's something I want. So the skincare, like Malia used the example, like I use soap and water also, and I'm very fortunate. I have good skin, and so I would be one that you might not want to sell to. However, I might know people who are interested in finding some skincare products, like Mindy was saying. It's not always the person you're talking to, but for me, it's like get to know people before you try to sell them anything. Because I personally am immediately turned off by somebody who comes to me to sell me something. Because I can easily go online, I can go to the grocery store, I can go to the health food store to buy what I want. Why do I want to buy from you? It's because I know you, I like you, and you now you have something that I need. Because I see the value factor.
That's exactly right. So it's all, and just like Mindy said, it's all about building relationships. And not only that, you have to find the problem. So in building a relationship with me, getting to know me, then you're going to figure out in our conversations and our interaction if I, one, am looking for a way to make money on the side and I may want to join your team because maybe I expressed some frustration or angst about not having enough money to pay for gymnastics class for my kids or whatever that is, right? So that could be a specific audience. Or maybe I, express something like, I'm at the end of my 30s, my skin is changing, and I'm just frustrated with the amount of oiliness because I found out that you did skincare. But you would have found out that in our conversation that we had. And so an easy thing to do is guide conversations so that you're getting people to the point where they're answering questions that may qualify them for more information. So have real conversations, get to know people in a genuine and authentic way, and then if they are not even if they're open, because it's not about that, but if they are in your audience or your target market, then they will open themselves up to an opportunity to hear more, learn more about your product or your opportunity.
And even if they don't, then at least you've had a quality conversation and built a rapport so that maybe down the line there's a connection either through them directly or somewhere else. You've established yourself as a quality, trustworthy
person who's not always trying to sell something, right? Yeah, and you just offer help. When you help people, the money will follow. That's just it. You know, you just help, you get to know people, and you help them find solutions to their problems, and that's it. That's all you do. So that's how you get your name out there. You decide, first of all, you brand yourself and not your company, and you become somebody who helps others, who finds solutions to problems. You don't want to be known as that salesperson unless you do want to be known as that person, then you become that person. But otherwise, you want to be known as the go-to person, expert in your industry, who serves others and wants to help others to succeed, whether it be in their personal skincare or in their business opportunity. So kind of like where we started with this conversation was, who do you want to be known as? Get out your notebook and write that down. Who do you want to be known as? And become that person. Work every single day to become that person. So, I want to be known as someone who helps others. I want to be known as someone who is an expert in skincare. And if that's one of your things, then you start providing resources and articles and training on proper skincare. There are a lot of things that you can do, but you got to decide who it is that you want to be, make that list, and then from there, start becoming that person. So that's my best advice there. And we are over time, so are there any last words of wisdom that you guys want to share so that we can be respectful of everyone's time?
Believe in yourself. Mwah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was having computer problems again. But I have a word of advice, and that's Google Hangout. Don't put your laptop on a pillow because it will turn off your video.
Great advice.
Thank you.
Well, I want to personally thank.
This was awesome. Thank you guys.
Uh-oh. Oh, okay.
She wants to personally thank Mindy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to personally thank everyone who is in attendance, who attended. Thank you for spending your afternoon and your time with us. Thank you so much to Miss Mindy Davis for imparting her incredible wisdom and knowledge with us this afternoon. We want to have a different guest on with us every single month. So if you're interested in being a guest, please reach out to me, Linda, or Lori so that we can get you on Inspiration Station TV with us. No pressure, but there are people out there who really want to learn from you and be inspired with you, and we want to invite you to do that with us. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We will be here again the third Thursday in March, which I believe is March 19th.
That's my birthday. My birthday.
Oh.
Is it March 19th? You would think every month I would write down when the next one is before I start, but it is March 19th. So we will be here at 12 o'clock noon, and go ahead and go in the Facebook group. Go on Facebook, tag us, shout out, let this be known so that we can grow this. We love, love, love having you guys here. We hope that you have fuel and inspiration going forward for the next few weeks until we see you again. And thank you so much.
I do want to share something. If you have a thought of, I really want to be on the Inspiration Station TV, but I'm scared, I'm nervous, I don't know what to say, please join us anyway, because you need to get past those fears. If you want to be successful in what you're doing, you'll need to get past a lot of fears. And so just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. And we do a little practice the day before, even though it doesn't really look like it, but we gab and hang out and get used to each other, and we'll take care of you. That's what we are here for. And yeah, we would love to have you. So reach out. We're here. We would love to have you on. And again, thank you so much for being here this afternoon. Ladies on the panel, if you would stick around, don't close out when I stop the broadcast. We will chat a little bit after the session. So again, thank you. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.